Yeah, street clothes.
He said he bigger. Bigger don't mean stronger.
Easy work. So a few days ago, I did a video on how could Errol Spence beat Terence Bud Crawford. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about how can Terence Crawford beat Errol Spence Jr. Bud Crawford bullied or manhandled in the ring, even at 147. He's really good at keeping guys off balance, and he has extremely high fight IQ. Sometimes Terence Crawford tends to get lulled into these dog fights or situations to where he may get hit when he shouldn't really be getting hit. But if you've been following Terence Bud Crawford, he's a guy that really likes to fight. But Terence Crawford going into this matchup has a variety of ways I can see him winning. I can see a decision win for Bud, and I can see a stoppage win for Bud. Bud Crawford to beat Errol Spence Jr. I think he just have to be Bud, quite frankly, because Errol Spence makes a lot of mistakes, rookie mistakes that he would not be able to afford to make in a fight with a guy like Terence Crawford. He has a lot of tools in his toolbox. Not to mention, he's a very disciplined guy. Not to mention, he has a lot of experience. He fought a lot of different fighters, right? A lot of different styles. While they may not have been the caliber of a guy like Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford has enough fighters on his resume to prepare him for anything I feel that Errol Spence brings into this particular matchup. Not to mention, you got to watch out for crazy stuff like the 1-inch punch, right? Crawford hitting guys with 1-inch punches. You know, the Kell Brook fight. But if Errol Spence uses the approach that I feel that will be best for him, and this is all my opinion, which would be to come high, Terence Crawford just move to the left and throw that right hand. Now, if Crawford's standing in southpaw stance, it may have to be a little reversed. But then again, Errol Spence hasn't faced many southpaws. And now, while Crawford may not be a true southpaw, as a welterweight, that's what he's been fighting. That's what side he's been fighting on, which is the southpaw stance. Really, really tough matchup for Errol Spence Jr. His best bet, like I said, will be to lull Crawford into a dogfight. But it's a double-edged sword. It could also backfire because Crawford, not only could he box, but he could fight. So it's kind of hard to say because I see Crawford has a lot of different ways he can end a fight. And he's been on a tear ever since moving up to 147. Actually, since the Postal fight, he's been on a knockout streak since. And prior to that, he was steamrolling everybody as well. But how can Bud beat Spence? Beat Bud Crawford. That's the best answer that I can really give. Because Terence Crawford, stylistically, I feel like he has the advantage. I feel like if there was the best chance to beat a guy like Bud Crawford, would have been when he first moved up to 147, before he got acclimated to the weight, before he grew into the weight. Now he's just as strong and as ferocious as ever. The stoppage just didn't stop when he moved up to 147. Errol Spence got to be careful. And honestly, it's easier for me to have a game plan how Errol Spence could tackle Crawford than it is for Crawford to tackle Spence, if I'm honest. Because I just see so many different ways Crawford can win the fight. It'll be hard for me to really just break it all down in one particular video. But I do got Crawford winning a fight within 10 rounds. Something telling me that Errol Spence Jr. hasn't had enough opponents. Not to say that they need to necessarily be the caliber of a guy like Crawford, but the craftiness, the style, something similar to where he could be familiar with it. Because Errol Spence hasn't been in there with any crafty guys as a professional. And then last time we seen him in there with a crafty guy was in the amateurs against a Kazakhstan fighter that was styling and profiling on the much slower Errol Spence Jr. And that's another thing. Crawford's the faster fighter. Errol Spence isn't nowhere close to being the fastest fighter in the welterweight division. One may argue out of all the top welterweights, he could possibly be the slowest. So Crawford has a speed advantage. The blunt power advantage will go to Errol Spence, of course, but the sharper power probably will go to Crawford. Who's the stronger man? I don't know. That could possibly be up for debate. We'll have to see when they start tussling, right? Who has the better IQ in the ring? Well, one may say it's Terence Crawford because he seemed to be able to adapt to any style you bring into the ring, and after a certain point, it's just over from there, right? In the fight at any minute. Dangerous fight for Errol Spence Jr. Very dangerous fight. Very tough fight. Arguably his toughest fight. And this will be Terence Crawford's toughest fight as well. I think Terence Crawford has a lot of advantages going to this fight that he probably wouldn't have had 3 or 4 years ago. And what we've been seeing from Bud, he's still stopping guys like there's no tomorrow. So Errol Spence got a lot to deal with. Derrick James got a lot to prepare for. The punch variety, right? The unorthodox combinations that Crawford likes to throw, right? The jab advantage probably goes to Spence. Spence uses his jab more. The body work advantage will probably go to Errol Spence. He attacks the body more. Not to say Crawford doesn't attack the body. But there's just a lot of different ways that Crawford can win this fight. Sean Porter was spinning Spence. Crawford was spinning Porter. So yeah, you guys, that's just my early take. We're going to be having a live stream tomorrow. Be sure to stop in. The Spence-Crawford debate is going to continue. We're going to get a panel of guys, and we're going to have a discussion because we know this fight is coming. But Terence Bud Crawford, in my opinion, like I said, you guys, this is my opinion. He has a lot going for him in this matchup. Derrick James got his work cut out for him. And Errol Spence better be more prepared than he has been for any fight. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.